February 2019, we had the release of Super Saiyan God Vegeta, the second banner from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie Collab. Was this finally the answer to Purple Broly, who was still arguably the strongest character in the game? Well, whether it was him or the other new units we got that month, that's what we're going to find out in today's Legends History episode. The month of February started with a brand new celebration for the Lunar New Year. It basically doubled the EXP in the story mode, doubled the EXP players could get from training items, cut the time required to train a character in half, because yes, if you're new to Legends, back then, training items were like adventures, where you had to wait for the training to finish to get the EXP, which in my opinion was like a horrible system. Glad they changed it. And the Zenny players could obtain from the story mode was multiplied by 5, so it was essentially the perfect time to grind your entire box, since every fight gave you twice the EXP and your training sessions finished twice as fast. Alongside that, a new login bonus campaign also began, running for 14 days, and giving a bunch of rewards like train items, energy tickets, skip tickets, and of course chrono crystals. Only about 150 chrono crystals, which a lot of players found a little bit stingy for the time, but still, with like all the skip tickets and very good train items they gave, honestly there was nothing to complain about. The next day, and we got a brand new Legends Road event, this time featuring Future Kid Trunks, a brand new free-to-play Spark in Trunks who could transform into a Super Saiyan mid-battle using his main ability. I remember taking a small break after the new year as my God Key team just couldn't compete with the Holy Trinity, and also that I didn't pull anything from the Future Saga banner, but of course, as soon as I saw this guy, I came straight back. But yeah, he was a blue melee type unit. His blue cards debuffed the enemies, making them take more strike damage for 15 timer counts. His green card then gave him 20% strike damage for 20 timer counts, which was actually pretty decent for a melee type unit, but nothing crazy. His post transformation main ability gave him a special move Arts card and buffed its damage by 30% for 15 timer counts, which was also nothing crazy, but alright I guess. And as for his unique abilities, the first one was a last man standing ability, giving him 15% damage inflicted per defeated battle member, and an additional 30% to his key recovery when an allied Gohan is defeated. And his second unique ability gave him 30% strike damage if you had a Gohan on your team. So yeah, this guy was clearly meant to be run alongside Gohan, and his Z ability wasn't even bad. Like, it gave 24% strike attack to future or Legends Road tag units. So this guy was genuinely not a bad bench unit for a Future Saga tag, and could even replace the summonable Blue Future Trunks for those who didn't have him. So yeah, even though Trunks wasn't like a top tier unit, for a free character he was actually pretty decent. Around the same time, Legends also dropped a brand new Legends Blue banner, featuring old characters like Kaioken Goku or Android 18, and as you can guess, this was just a hard skip. Unless you really wanted Blue Kaioken Goku, but even then, he probably wasn't worth it. Like, he was definitely still a top 10 unit in the game, but the other featured units just weren't all that. We also had a new PvP season, where players could farm the Extreme Pan's Z power, and as usual, that same Extreme Pan also got her own Scout Battle event that same day. That PvP season also introduced a new equipment, usable only by female warrior tag units. It gave up to 50% strike defense, critical rate, and either blast attack or strike attack, depending on the role. That equip was honestly pretty decent, and came at the perfect time, as a week later, on Valentine's Day, they dropped a Rising Girls banner, featuring 4 new units. Bulma was a blue support type unit that completely redefined what support characters could do at the time. Her main ability drew an ultimate arts card, healed the entire team by 10%, and gave an extra 10% heal to female warriors specifically, which was a pretty insane ability to have for the time. Like, a free ultimate, plus healing your whole team was nothing to laugh at. As for her ultimate, it cancelled the enemy's buffs, which was actually pretty good, but what really made her broken for the time was her green card. When activated, she'd instantly swap with another character on your team randomly, while giving 15% more damage to the whole team for 20 timer counts, and literally generated an extra Dragon Ball. Like, that combination was just ridiculous, especially in a meta where rush timing often decided matches. This made Bulma just so cracked, like you have no idea. Like it was just crazy. Then one of her unique abilities gave allied female warriors a 15% damage boost for 10 timer counts when she was switched out, and that included her green card. Like paired with the -2 sub count from her other unique ability and her green card, yeah, you could literally switch into Bulma, use her green card, and then whatever unit she would switch into had an insane 65% damage boost. Like brother, like Bulma was just cracked. Bulma was literally just cracked. Chi-Chi was a green blue type fighter. Her kit was designed around countering Sun family units, who were still a big part of PvP with all of the different Gokus the game had at the time. Her main ability drew an ultimate arts card and nullified unfavorable element factors for 15 timer counts, letting her safely go toe-to-toe with her counters. Her ultimate dealt major slice damage and had a 20% chance to fate on hit. Her special move inflicted a debuff that made the enemy take 10% more damage for 15 timer counts, combined with her green card, which added 15% strike damage and even forced the enemies to switch out on hit. Yeah, she was pretty scary, especially against Sun family characters, as that same green card also increased their sub count by 5, effectively trapping their teammates off the field for so much time. Like, this was a pretty cracked effect to have on a green card. But the real heart of her kit was her unique abilities. One gave her an immense 80% damage inflicted against Sun family units. Like if your opponent brought any versions of Goku, Gohan or Goten, Chi-Chi instantly became a monster. Her other unique ability restored 50k on entry and gave her 30% Q recovery and 20% blast damage if you had another female warrior character on your team. Her Z ability then gave 20% strike defense to female warriors, which fit perfectly in a meta where most top tier units, including Broly, were strike based units. Chi-Chi was overall pretty decent, an absolute beast against Sun family tag units, especially paired with Bulma's insane support capabilities. Videl was a yellow melee type fighter. Her main ability was usable after just 10 timer counts, healed her by 30%, boosted her strike damage by 35% for 20 timer counts, and reduced her strike arts cost by 5. Those cheap strike cards let her extend combos like crazy, and the healing worked pretty well with the rest of her kit, as you could proc all of her low HP boosts, heal back to full HP, and then just destroy the enemy. Her green card also gave her 20% strike damage for 20 timer counts, with an additional 15% damage if she was below 50% HP, while her special move gave her even more strike damage on use, plus another 15% if she was below 50% HP. As for her unique abilities, her first unique ability gave her 30% strike damage on entry if you had another female warrior character who was alive on your team, and another 20% if her health was below 50% HP. And her second unique gave her a terrifying 50% strike damage when 2 allies were defeated, turning her into one of the scariest last man standing units of her time. On top of that, she dealt an extra 20% damage when facing Gohan, which was something you could see pretty often, as future Gohan was still one of the best units in the game. Her Z ability boosted female warriors' strike defense, adding just enough survivability to let her get into the dangerous half health range safely, which synergized pretty well with all of the HP restrictions she had on her kit. Like overall, Videl was just insane offensively, especially below 50% HP. Like when you factor in all of her buffs, she could just look completely insane. Extreme Mai was a support type unit. Her main ability drew a special arts card, restored 50 ki, and gave 20% damage to all allies for 15 timer counts. Her special move shortened her allies' sub count by 5, while her green card did the same on activation, inflicted flash, and applied a 20% damage receipt debuff to the enemy. Between that and her unique abilities, both of which granted 20% damage to all allies when she switched in or out, Mai was pretty crazy. She helped your other 2 attackers get on the field faster and hit harder once they did. With Kel and Caulifla, the female warrior tag was arguably already a meta relevant tag, but with those new 4 units, yeah, that tag was officially up there as one of the best teams in the game. As for the banner itself, it also featured yellow Android 18 and blue Pan, and with how good those new girls were, it was probably worth summoning on, at least if you didn't care for the upcoming Dragon Ball Super Broly units. Like, the Peppy Gold team was probably the best team we had seen since the Holy Trinity. I remember people being pretty mad at those new units. Like, power creep was genuinely getting out of control, and the fact that the team that kind of dethroned the Holy Trinity was a Peppy Gold team was honestly just not serious at all. Like, Like, are you for real? The new best team in the game was a team that consisted of Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Videl. Like, bro, this was just ridiculous. But yeah, we also got a new full-on Valentine's themed event, centered entirely around the female warrior tag. The event itself was essentially a Legends Road style grind. You had to farm chocolate items, dropped by enemies, including a chocolate Cyberman. These chocolates acted as the event's currency. You could trade them in the shop for items like skip tickets, training items, rising souls, and new Valentine's themed equipments. And if you used certain characters, you had bonus drop and damage. As for the new Valentine's themed equipments, the most notable one increased blast attack for every female warrior in your battle group, up to 25% total if you run a full trio. Others boosted strike and blast defenses, or special and ultimate move damage. Like, honestly, these new equips were not only good, but literally a must if you wanted to get the most out of that new banner. We also had a brand new Cell story event completely unrelated to the Valentine celebration. The event came with 3 new equipments, 2 of which were actually pretty decent. The first one boosted special move damage, strike defense, and added up to 7% blast damage for region tag battle member on your team. So that last effect could give you in total 21% blast damage, which was a pretty big deal for the region tag. The second equip was exclusive to extreme red units and was actually cracked for the time. It could roll up to 25% strike and blast attack and defense and give 12% HP. HP, which was definitely the strongest defensive stat at the time. It was so good that I even remember some players running Extreme Fascia instead of Gogeta alongside Bardock and Broly on the Holy Trinity team. Like, with those crazy extreme equipments, she was arguably better than Gogeta. Like, the damage you lost from Bardock's supports not being applied to her was compensated by her insane support type buffs. When swapped out, she gave Bardock a 50% strike damage buff, and if she died, the entire team got 30% more damage. Combine that with her green cards, 20% team buff, and Bardock could literally one combo a fully transformed purple Broly. Like, that's just how crazy his damage got with her. We then got more V-Jump leaks, this time teasing the upcoming Ultra Space Time Summon banner, featuring a new Super Saiyan 3 Goku from the Boo Saga and a Super Saiyan 2 Rage Vegeta from the Battle of Gods movie. Super Saiyan 3 Goku was shown to be a hyper-aggressive unit designed to dominate the early game. Basically, a new version of the Yellow Heart Virus Goku. Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, on the other hand, was the opposite. His kit would be designed for him to be like a last man standing unit, meaning he was meant to dominate the late game. Both of these units were teased as part of a new wave of movie and Boo Saga characters releasing in early March, and players were already speculating which third unit would join them on the banner, with most guesses pointing toward a new Super Boo. After some not so hype releases, Legends finally dropped one of the most anticipated banners of the time, the second Dragon Ball Super Broly movie banner, featuring the long-awaited Super Saiyan God Vegeta. Super Saiyan God Vegeta was a red melee type unit, and for the time he was pretty solid. His main ability gave him 40% strike damage for 25 timer counts, reduced the cost of his strike cards by 5, and could be activated after just 5 timer counts. So right from the start of battle, you could transform him into a combo monster. He had almost no setup time. You jumped in, popped his main, and he was already hitting like a truck. His blue cards then gave him another 15% strike damage. His green card reduced the next damage he took by 10% until the enemy combo ended, and added another 15% strike damage for 20 timer counts. While 10% might not sound like much, it applied until the entire combo was finished, so it was actually pretty decent. And yeah, more strike damage was obviously very good. One of his unique abilities gave him a 50% strike damage boost for 20 timer counts every time he entered the battlefield, as long as his health was higher than his opponents. This encouraged players to play aggressively from the start, maintain that health advantage, and constantly rotate him in and out to keep that buff active. His second unique gave him an extremely solid cover change. When switching into a combo, he reduced the damage he received by 40% until the combo ended, applied strike and blast armor, and even knocked back the enemy if they were close range. But it obviously came at the cost of increasing his sub count by 5, which honestly didn't really synergize too well with his first unique ability, as you wanted to like really switch him out a lot to keep his like first buff active. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that whole cover change ability even even had like a special animation, at least against strike attacks, which was pretty cool. His Z ability gave 22% strike defense to God Ki units, which was definitely very good, as the God Ki tag lacked Z abilities. So yeah, God Vegeta was a great balance between offense and defense, and he fit perfectly alongside Red Super Saiyan God Goku. Together they turned the God Ki tag into an actual top tier team. As for the other featured units on the banner, Super Saiyan God Goku was still a very good unit, and now better than ever thanks to God Vegeta. Purple Broly, as surprising as it might sound, was still the best unit in the game, like the Holy Trinity as a whole was starting to fade away, but Broly himself was still insanely cracked. Blue Broly and Yellow Paikuhan were just filler units, and definitely not good anymore. Overall though, this was one of those banners that was worth summoning on, especially if you had skipped the first Broly banner. Between the new Vegeta, Super Saiyan God Goku, and Full Power Broly, this banner gave you access to multiple very good units and meta-viable teams. Alongside the Super Saiyan God Vegeta banner, Legends also dropped a login bonus campaign, which ran for about 11 days. It gave a nice mix of train items, skip tickets, energy, and 150 chrono crystals. Legends then officially rolled out the full details for the next character balance changes, the third major wave of stat and toolkit upgrades for older characters that had completely fallen out of the PvP meta. This time the picked characters were based on data from the Super Spacetime Duel number 18, focusing on the least used Sparking and Extreme units at battle rank 50 or above. Turles was the first one on the list, and honestly, his buffs turned him into an actual decent unit. His green card got a full rework, the cost was reduced from 30 to 20, and instead of just giving random effects, it now guaranteed a 20% general damage buff for 20 timer counts, while randomly adding one of 4 extra effects, either drain a green card, 20% more blast damage, 20% ki recovery, or 50% vanish gauge recovery speed. That combination gave him far better consistency and made him less RNG reliant. His main ability also became way more practical. It used to only reduce blast arts cost for 10 counts after 15 timer counts, but after the buff, it could be used after just 5 timer counts and lasted for 20 timer counts, and even drew a green card instantly. That one change alone made him much more aggressive early in the match. His first unique ability saw the biggest jump, from a measly 10% blast damage against Sun Family tag units to a massive 40%. This meant he finally had a purpose again, being a solid anti-Goku or anti-Gohan option for purple teams. On top of that, his damage reduction from his other unique ability now lasted for 35 timer counts instead of 25. So yeah, Turles was actually one of the best units in the game now, especially since he paired pretty well with Purple Broly. Next was Red Sparking Hercule. His green card now destroyed both players' hands while restoring his ki by 30 and reducing the enemy's ki by 30, which was great for stalling. His main ability had its activation time reduced from 20 to 10 timer counts and raised all enemies' card cost to 99 for 15 timer counts. If timed correctly, that could completely shut down an opponent's combo window, but the real improvement came from his unique abilities. It now activated when his HP dropped below 40%, up from 30%, and it buffed allies' damage by 30% and ki recovery by 40% for the rest of the match, combined with his new enhanced endurance, which restored 30% of his health, while also reducing the damage he will receive by 80% for 5 timer counts. Yeah, Hercule suddenly became one of the tankiest and most end-win units in the game. Then there was Green Piccolo, the OG tank. His special beam cannon was reworked to not only inflict heavy bleed damage, but also reduce the enemy's cover sustained damage cut effects by 50%, and added a 50% blast damage debuff to the enemies he hit with it. His green card got a cost reduction from 25 to 20 and gained a new conditional effect. After 40 counts, it buffed his next blue card by 50%. His anti-Saiyan unique ability now boosted blast damage by 50% instead of 20%, making him an actual real threat against Saiyan heavy teams. And his Z ability was also buffed, now affecting both green and regen tag units instead of just green units. This gave the regen team a much stronger defensive bench option, or honestly just a decent option overall. Like, Piccolo went from being borderline unplayable to a legit solid wall and support unit for the regen tag, especially when paired with Zamasu or Janemba. Like, he was arguably one of the best units in the game now. Blue Pen also got a major glow up. Her main ability, now draw a green card, reduced enemy key recovery and card draw speed, and could be activated after only 10 timer counts instead of 20. Her green card got a stronger 30% strike damage buff and a lower cost of 20 instead of 25. Her unique abilities were reworked to give her 40% key recovery for 35 timer counts and a 30% damage buff to her whole team for 25 timer counts, which made her surprisingly useful early game. Her Z ability was also expanded to buff both the female warrior and Sun family tag units, which was a small but nice bonus. So while she wasn't top tier, she became a solid support type pick for the hybrid Saiyan or female warrior teams. Like generally the female warrior team was literally like the best team in the game now. Blue Krillin also received a full set of upgrades. His solar flare was the biggest change. It now had a cost of 15 instead of 35, which was already pretty huge in itself. But the biggest thing here is that its range was extended from mid to long, and it inflicted flash on hit, while also applying a 30% blast damage debuff to all enemies. That made it a lot more usable, both offensively and defensively. His main ability was improved to restore 10% of his own HP, 60 key, and 20% to his whole team, while also clearing them of all of their debuffs. It also reduced the enemy key recovery by 100% for 5 timer counts, combined with his unique assist ability, which now gave a 20% damage buff to his team for 20 timer counts on Switch. Krillin finally became an actual decent support type unit. His Z ability and stats were also buffed, which was pretty decent for mono blue teams. And while obviously the Spark units were the main focus here, a few extreme units also got some stat bumps, including Fuse with Nell Piccolo, Red Krillin, Extreme Vegeta, Second Form Cell, and Android 16, all of whom got slightly improved Z abilities and minor stat scalings. But yeah, they weren't really anything crazy. Like, Android 16 probably got the best buffs out of all of them. Like, he was generally not a bad support type unit for the Android tag now. So yeah, the balance change third update was actually pretty crazy. Piccolo and Turles were genuinely top tier units now, and Pan was also pretty damn good. Legends also released a new banner alongside it called Legends Rise Up, featuring all 5 of the recently buffed units from the recent balance changes update. Those were old units that most players already had, so this banner was definitely a hard skip. And even if you didn't have them, like with how crazy the power creep was getting, yeah, you were better off waiting for Dragon Ball Super Gogeta. We also had a new PvP season where you could farm Z power for the Extreme Kaba, who, like every Extreme class unit that's featured on a Super Space-Time Duel, got his own Scout Battle event. And obviously a new PvP season also meant a new gold equip. This time it was an equip for the sagas from the movie's characters. It was actually pretty decent. It gave them up to 15% blast attack, 30% blast defense, and an extra 5% strike defense for movie tag battle members, so up to 15% strike defense. So yeah, this equip was actually pretty insane for Broly, as he was already pretty tanky due to his high stats transformed. So having even more blast defense and strike defense, yeah, it made an already insane unit even crazier. At the very end of February, Legends dropped the 10th Ultra Space Time banner, featuring 3 brand new Sparking units: Ultimate Gohan, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and Super Saiyan 2 Rage Vegeta, alongside 2 new extreme characters. And just like the recent banners, this one also had the special 999 Z-Power format, which made it one of the better value banners of the time, at least for players who wanted to instantly push their units to 4 stars. Ultimate Gohan. He was a green mid type fighter and easily one of the most mechanically unique character the game had seen up to that point. His entire kit revolved around his green card, which made him stronger each time he used it. The first activation boosted his strike damage by 40%, the second boosted his key recovery by 30%, the third gave him 40% blast damage and 30% special move damage, and from the fourth use and onward, it restored 50 key and cleansed him of all of his debuffs. Like, bro, this was just an insane green card in the long run. Like, the longer you kept that guy alive, the scarier he became. But obviously you also had to be lucky with the green cards. If the stars align and you manage to actually activate all of his buffs, yeah, that guy could become like ridiculous. Then his main ability drew his ultimate arts card, restored 1 charge of his cover rescue, and could be used after just 25 timer counts. His ultimate even reduced the enemy's key by 50 on hit, which was pretty nasty. But coming back to his cover rescue, Gohan had the same mechanic as like the green instant transformation Goku. The first time he swapped in to cover an ally, he literally just saved him, took 0 damage from that combo, buffed his own strike damage by 20%, and increased his sub count by 5 afterwards. And yeah, you already know how broken that was. Like, you could literally completely nullify an enemy's Rising Rush or like a massive like blue card or combo or like anything, bro. You could literally save your ally from anything, like twice per battle, which was just crazy, bro, crazy. As for his unique abilities, his first unique ability gave him a green card and 20% damage for 10 timer counts every time he successfully vanished an attack, which, as you would guess, synergized pretty well with his green card buffs. Like you could vanish, get a green card, pop it, vanish again, rinse and repeat. It was like one of the craziest combos in the game at the time. But yeah, since the guy was guaranteed 2 green cards, you could at the very least activate his 2 first buffs, the strike damage and Q recovery, which was pretty good. But as strong as he was, the fact that he was green ended up being his demise. Purple units dominated the meta at the time. Broly was still the best unit in the game, and almost every meta team had like a purple unit on it, so you can guess that Gohan had a very hard time in that meta. Next up was Super Saiyan Goku, a red range type unit. From the start of battle, he got 40% damage and 30% recovery for 45 timer counts, and once that time ran out, his recovery was cut in half. His main ability could be used after just 5 timer counts and gave him additional damage every time he landed a strike or blast card, combined with his green card that restored 30 ki and buffed his blue card's damage for 20 timer counts. He was just an early game monster. The catch was that you had to be insanely aggressive with him. If you played too slow or got caught early, he was practically dead weight after 45 timer counts. Like, he had incredible damage potential early game, but his predictable pacing and I guess poor defenses made him easy to counter. Then we had Super Saiyan 2 Rage Vegeta, a purple support type unit. He was designed as a true last man standing unit. His main ability healed him by 20%, drew a blue card, and gave 80% damage to his next blue card. His green card buffed his teammates' blast damage, and those buffs got stronger the more allies had been defeated. His first unique ability was his real selling point. When 2 allies were defeated, Vegeta healed 50% of his HP, restored 60 ki, drew a green card, and got 70% strike damage, while also cutting damage he received by half. On top of that, his other unique ability gave 20% damage to Saiyan and Hybrid Saiyan allies whenever he swapped out, which made him a fantastic support pick. Like, he wasn't as flashy as Gohan or Goku, but he had one of the best comebacks mechanics in the game. He was the type of unit you could slap into like any Saiyan team, honestly, and he could perform pretty well there. And the way he synergized with Super Saiyan Goku made him a pretty decent duo at the time. Like, Goku dominated the early game and Vegeta took over the late game. As for the 2 new extreme units, Pure Evil Buu was a blue range type unit who was designed to counter Regen Tag. His main ability gave him a 50% damage buff and a free blue card, while his unique abilities reduced the enemy's healing and card draw speed. Like, he wasn't anything meta defining, but he was a solid option against regen teams. Obviously, Extreme Vegeta was a blue defense type unit and was designed to counter the entering tag, restoring health and gaining ki with his main ability and raising the enemy's card costs. Like, honestly, he was alright, but nothing crazy. Now, this update also came with a huge set of quality of life improvements that really changed the game. The biggest one was the new equipment archive, which finally let players view every piece of equipment in the game, see where you could obtain them, and track which ones you already owned. Past PvP exclusive equips were also added to the rare medal shop, which was a massive deal for like players who had missed them at the time. They also added a new PvP praise system, where you could send messages to your opponents after matches, alongside new penalties for frequent disconnects. A clear step toward fixing the cheater problem that plagued the early PvP scene. And on top of that, Legends added new customization features, like the option to display transformed versions of characters on the home screen, an improved element display for adventure missions, and a new Let's Fight daily event that gave 1 million XP to one of your characters per day, which was literally the best event in the game to farm friendship. And it still is to this day outside of like big celebrations. But yeah, this is it for today's video. In the next history video, we'll take a look at the month of March 2019, where we got not only the anticipated arrival of Dragon Ball Super Gogeta, but also our first official LF character, Red Super Saiyan Gohan. But until then, take care, peace.